Hello there. I'm going to try a lesson today in rhythm. Pretty much any grade could try this. I did hand a few of these out to band students and have done that over the years. You know, this is certainly a good way to kind of get things going. This is actually taken from the back of their band books. You'll see rhythm studies at the top. And of course, if you have your own paper in front of you, you'll see a clear 4/4. Top 4 is always reminding us how many beats in a measure. Okay, if you can see that, okay. That's how many beats are in the measure. And the bottom 4 is code. If you ignore the top 4 and you put the bottom 4 on a fraction, 1/4, we remember that 1/4 of a dollar is a quarter. Oh, okay, quarter note, yeah. So that's what the bottom 4 tells us. Quarter note is worth 1 beat, which makes the first measure a very good example of how 4/4 works. Each beat, each note getting its own beat, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. Now most of the time I put these up top because that's where the measure numbers are. In fact, why don't I just do that in the second measure? We do have 4 things and we have 4 beats, but not all 4 of those are quarter notes. We're starting right away with a quarter rest. I like to put my rest beats in parentheses. We still have to count them, but we don't make a sound, okay? So we'll just continue on here. We have measure 3 has 2 quarter notes. You notice now I am putting the beats in up top. Third beat is a rest. Okay. And then measure 4. 1. Quarter rest is on beat 2, 3, and 4. Giving you a second to catch up on that if I were to clap it. Now as a conductor, and making sure everybody's in the same place in practice, I would count the measure numbers as beat 1. And so clapping this, I'd go like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4. Okay, but now we're going to add on to this because, as we all know, rhythm has got to get more complicated and it makes the song more fun. Okay, so measure 5, still in 4/4, means quarter note gets first, this quarter note gets the second. Half note is 2 beats or 2 quarter notes. So 3-4, that shows the duration of the half note taking the rest of the measure. Okay. Measure 6 starts with the half note. So beats 1 and 2 are the half note. Beat 3 is the quarter, beat 4 is the quarter. Measure 7, beat 1 and 2 for the half note, and the second half note gets both beat 3 and 4. Okay. Measure 8 has some syncopation. The half note's in the middle of the measure, so it gets beats 2 and 3. Okay. So giving you a second with that, we'll go ahead and count it band style, and this time we'll give you 4 prep beats. So 1, 2, starting at measure 5. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 7, 2, 3, 4. 8, 2, 3, 4. There you go. Okay. We'll just continue to go line by line here. Measure 9, still in 4/4. 4 beats a measure, quarter note gets 1 beat. Starting right away with quarter notes in measure 9, 3 quarter notes in a row, and a rest on beat 4. Measure 10 starts with quarter note again. The rest on beat 2, half note on beats 3 and 4. Okay. Measure 11 starts with the rest. Rest at the beginning is not easy. Beat 2 for the half note, 3 and 4, or beat 2 for the whole quarter note, 3 and 4 half note. Measure 12, I still put beat 1 in, even though if we're counting this to keep our place, we'd count measure 12 for the first beat. 3 is the rest, 4 is the quarter note. Again, we'll just look at measure 9 and clapping it. 1, 2, ready, go. 9, 2, 3, 4. 10, 2, 3, 4. 11, 2, 3, 4. 12, 2, 3, 4. There you go. Okay. Measure 13. Now we introduce eighth notes, okay, which are half of a quarter note. 8 of them can make up a whole measure of 4/4. All right, so just continue as we've been doing. Measure 13 starts with a quarter note, another quarter note. You might hear my dog barking out the window. And okay, so the 8 notes, I tend to count them 3 and 4 and cut them in halves that way. Some will say 2-tay, 3-tay, 4-tay. I'll stick with the ands. Measure 14 again starts the quarter note, quarter rest or beat 2, and 3 and 4 and again. I used to make fancy and signs, but plus signs work just fine for and. Okay. Measure 15 is tricky. It starts with the rest for all of beat 1, 2, 3, and 4, and just like the other measures on that line. And measure 16, starts with the 8th notes this time. 1 and 2 and. Rest after the 4/8 notes. That could be tricky. And beat 4 the quarter note. Okay, so this third or fourth line, starting with measure 13, 1, 2, 3, and 13, 2, 3, and 4, and 14, 2, 3, and 4, and 15, 2, 3, and 4, and 16, and 2, and 3, 4. Okay. So we get down to measure 17. And instead of groups of 4/8 notes, now we're going to have just pairs of 8th notes and other things in between. Okay. So measure 17 starts with beat 1 quarter note. Okay. Let's go ahead and raise that up a little. There we go. 2 and 3, 4 and there's your first measure. Has all 4 beats. 2 are cut in half. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 19, 1 and 2, 3 and 4. Notice at 19, the ands were on beat 1 and 3. On 17, they were on beat 2 and 4. Okay. Measure 20, 1, 2, and 3, 4. And notice the 8th notes are in beat 2 here, and they're only in beat 3 there. Okay. Measure 21 we'll get to in a second. I'm going to put something down to hold the paper in place. And clap measure 17 for you. 1, 2, ready, go. 17, 2, and 3, 4, and 18, 2, 3, and 4, 19, and 2, 3, and 4, 20, 2, and 3, 4. Okay. Measure 21. Still 4/4. Quarter note gets 1 beat. 4 beats in the measure. 2 8th notes make a quarter, so we cut those in half. 2 and 3. Rest for 4. 22 starts the quarter note again. A rest in beat 2. So you can see now we're mixing rests into 8th notes. Okay. 23. 8th notes start the measure, so it's 1 and. Quarter note after that is 2. The rest is 3. And the quarter note on beat 4. 24 starts with a quarter rest, which is worth 1 beat, as we should know. 2 and 3, 4. Okay. So let's put that one with some clapping, as you have hopefully caught up by now or stayed with me. 21. So here we go. I'm gonna start doing what I used to do and count from the measure before. So it's 20, 2, ready, go. 21, 2, and 3, 4, 22, 2, 3, and 4, 23, and 2, 3, 4, 24, 2, and 3, 4. Okay. 25. Remember, you can always go back and replay these. You can always speed me up too. So I kind of went ahead and got ahead of myself here. Half notes at measure 25 in the beginning. 1, 2, tied together, dashed together rather. 3, 4, and. 26, quarter note. 2 and 3-4. 27, 1 and 2. Half rest. First time we're seeing that on this page. The box is above the line, sitting on the line. Could be a hat if you just look the part around it, okay? But it's 2 beats of rest. So I parenthesed 3-4 there, instead of like with a half note without the parentheses. Measure 28 starts with a quarter rest. 2 and 3, 4. Okay. All right, so counting the line, starting with measure 25, counting off with 24, 2, ready, go. 25, 2, 3, 4, and 26, 2, and 3, 4, 27, and 2, 3, 4, 28, 2, and 3, 4. Now, I didn't connect this rest with this rest, mainly because you don't connect rests, but you could. You could have maybe dashed continuing on into the next rest. Yeah, you will do this when we start tying notes over bar lines, but not for now. Okay. Measure 29. Okay, we introduced dotted half notes. So the dots, a lot of people get this confused. All the dot is it's adding half of the note it's attached with. Now, it's not to be confused with staccato that goes straight up and down, okay, because it's to the right of the note, okay? So in this case, we're adding half of the half note. Half note's worth 2, because it's 2 quarter notes. So half of 2 is 1. So this is now worth 3, okay? And there will be times where dotted half note's worth something else. But right now it's worth 3. So we start with beat 1, 2, 3. All 3 are dashed. Quarter note, 4. Measure 30. 1-2-3, because it also started with a dotted half note. This time it ends with a rest. Okay? Measure 31 starts with the quarter note. The dotted half note, this step starts on beat 2, and rightfully so. There's nothing else in the measure, so we're going to dash all the way through to the end of the measure. 2-3-4. Measure 32, 2-3-4. Okay. We have one more line to go after this one. And so here we go, clapping the line that starts with measure 9, 28, 2, ready, go, 29, 2, 3, 4, 30, 2, 3, 4, 31, 2, 3, 4, 32, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Measure 33, the last line of this first page. Starts with the dotted half note. Now we're just going to combine in the 8th note. So we have 4 and. Okay. Measure 34 starts with a quarter, which we've had before. We had this in measure 31. Be on the lookout for patterns and repeats and things. Happens a lot in band music anyway, and some degree in choir music. Okay, 35 starts the quarter note. Beat 2 is 8 notes. Quarter rest. That's often tricky to do a rest after faster notes. Quarter note. Our first whole note on this activity. Okay. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 for the whole note at the end. Trying to make it so you can see that. I think you'll be able to see it here in a second. Okay. Home technology is so much fun. Well, if I go like this, can you see it now? Okay. But it's there. I promise it's there. I wrote 1-2-3-4 where the whole note is. Okay. So the bottom line reads, starting from 32 or from 33. 32, 2, ready, go. 33, 2, 3, 4, and 34. 2, 3, 4, 35, 2, and 3, 4, 36, 2, 3, 4. So now we can turn this over. If you have my runoff, of course, if you have the original book these are in, it's just on the facing page. Okay. Rhythm studies, measure 37. Starting off 4/8 notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Right, lots of 8th notes there. Measure 38, also still to have 4 beats. Quarter note gets 1 beat. 1 and 2 and 3, 4 ends. So now we're moving the quarter note around, but the 8th notes prevail. Okay. Measure 39 starts with quarter rest. Again, could be tricky after following 8th notes. And measure 40. 1 and 2 and 3 and quarter rest. Okay, so clapping that, we would have 36, 2, ready, go. 37 and 2 and 3 and 4. 38 and 2 and 3, 4 and 39, 2 and 3 and 4 and 40 and 2 and 3 and 4. Yay. Okay. 41, we're introduced now to single 8th notes and to single 8th rests. The little, I call them coat hooks, or number 7s with a coat hook on the end, right? So starting at measure 41, we have 1 and 2, and this doesn't change at all how we count 8th notes when they're single like this, except that now we have an and on an 8th rest. Fortunately, they're not on the beat. That makes them pretty easy starting out. Okay. Measure 42, 1. All of the ands look like they're on rest. 4 8th notes, 1 and 2 and 3. The ands are on rests. Okay. And then the last measure on this line, 1 and is in the parentheses, 2. The and of 2 is also in parentheses, 3. And, because they're 8th notes, so we'll clap them out. And then the and after 4 is an 8th note. Okay, here we go. 42, ready, go. 41 and 2, 3 and 4, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 43 and 2 and 3 and 4, and 44 and 2 and 3 and 4. And, okay. Measure 45 starts with an 8th rest. This is where they get a little fun. It's kind of like syncopation. Okay, so 8th rest started 45, so that's in parentheses, but then it's 3 8th notes following that. Beat 3 also is an 8th rest, so watch out there. 46, all of the 8th notes are on the ands, and we rest on the beat. So here's where we're getting some challenging rhythm. Okay, 47 starts with 4 8th notes, 1 and 2 and. Beat 3 is on a rest, 8th, beat 4 is on a rest, and an 8th. 48 starts with 8th notes, 3. So there's our line we just wrote in. Try clapping that. All right, starting at 45, so counting off at 44, 2, ready and go. 45 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 46 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 47 and 2 and 3 and 4, 48 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. All right, a lot of tricky parts in that line, so if you didn't get it the first time, that's okay. Measure 49, 1 and 2. The 8th rest on the and of 2, 3. Another 8th rest on the and of 3, and 4 and. Okay. 50, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. 51, 1 and 2. Now here's a spot where if you want, you could make them sort of join like we do with eighth notes, or like with notes that are tied. Okay, so I put parentheses around this and the 3. Okay, because there's 2 rests in a row there. Again, that's up to you. I don't do that very often. 52, and by the way, I do this oftentimes for myself. Is okay. All right. Only thing is when I clap, I can't point. So again, that's why I'm counting out the measure numbers. All right. So 49, starting with counting off at 48, 2, ready, go. 49 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 50 and 2, 3 and 4 and 51 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 51 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 53. We're getting a little bit easier looking, except now we're doing dotted quarter notes. So remember about dots, it's half of the note it's with. Okay, quarter note is worth 1. Half of 1 is a half. So it's 1 1/2. Okay, it is not 3 again or anything like that. But it's a whole beat of 1 and then part of beat 2. Only part, okay? 1, 2, and the other half of 2 is on that 8th note there. Okay? So you got 1, 2, and 3, 4. Okay? Rest 2, 3. Here's dotted quarter, so we have all of beat 3 and the first half of beat 4. And some people will write this out as 3 and 4. I'm okay with that, but I think it's just extra. I'm going to look for shortcuts. But if you need to write out all the ands, that's fine. You could put ands here if you want. Again, I know a number of teachers I've seen online do that, and I'm going to try and keep it simple for us for now. I kind of skipped ahead here. 1, 2. I call this uh-oh, right? Okay. The 8th note on beat 3, that's the first half. The second half of it goes on to the dotted quarter. We can call that the dot part if you want. And then it ties into 4. All of 4. I could put 4 and if you want. Not necessary. And same thing here. 1, rest, 3. The second half of beat 3 goes on this note and ties to all of beat 4. Okay, so not clapping it. Let's find something. This remote seems to work pretty good. Okay. All right, so let's try measure 53. 52, 2, ready, go. 53, 2, and 3, 4. 54, 2, 3, 4, and 55, 2, 3, and 4. 56, 2, 3, and 4. And again, those 3 and that should almost sound like uh-oh pattern. All right. I almost missed this, but we have a change in our time signature. We had 4, 4 all along. Now we have 3, 4. Top note, top number always means how many beats in the measure. So that's 3 now instead of 4. 4 on the bottom still means quarter note gets 1 beat. So we'll have 57, beat 1 for the quarter note. Second quarter note, beat 2. Then we have 3 and for the 8th note, 2 8th notes, and that's it. We hit a bar line, and that's because we only have 3 beats in the measure. 58, 1, 8th notes are in beat 2. Third and final beat, quarter note. Again, because it's 3, 4, only 3 beats in measure. 59, dotted quarter, so that's 1. We start beat 2. The and goes on the 8th note, and the quarter there. Okay. 60 starts with a rest. 2 and beat 2 because of the 8th notes, and beat 3 the quarter note. And again, all that's different is that we just have 1 less possible beat in each measure. And a song can do that. It can change in the middle like this. Not often until we get older, but it can. Okay, so this is measure 57, so we'll go 56, 2, go. 57, 2, 3, and 58, 2 and 3, 59, 2 and 3, 60, 2 and 3. Okay. You notice my count off was different because you want to count off also in 3/4. Okay. 61, still in 3/4. Always want to check that. Okay. 61, 2 starts with a half note. Half notes are still worth 2 beats because of the 4 on the bottom. And we have 3 and. Okay. 62. The first beat starts with an 8th note, finishes with an 8th rest. Beat 2 starts with an 8th note, finishes with an 8th rest. Beat 3 starts with an 8th note, finishes on an 8th rest. Yay. Okay. 63, 1 and 2, 3 and 64, 1, 2, 3. All right. So another line of 3/4 rhythm, counting off from 60. 60, ready, go. 61, 2, 3 and 62 and 2 and 3 and 63 and 2, 3 and 64, 2, 3. All right. Okay, something new for the next line. Measure 65 starts a 2/4 measure. Well, it works the same way as 4/4 and 3/4. Quarter note still gets 1 beat, only now there's 2 beats in each measure. Okay, good for marches. Okay, 65 then starts with a quarter note, 2 and. 66 starts with 2 8th notes, so 1 and, 2. 67, 1-2 and. Quarter note followed by the 8th. Again, all of the values stay the same except the measures only can have 2 beats. There's an uh-oh pattern there. All right. And since these are so short and so quick, I'm going to go ahead and do the very last line with this as well. This is where we were having fun earlier. It seems to be working fine now. 69, 1 and 2. 1 and 2 and, right? Alternating 8th note, 8th rests. 70 starts with an 8th rest. 71 had 2 8th notes followed by 8th rest. And then 72 had a half note, taking the whole measure. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do from 65. When we're in 2/4, sometimes I'll give 2 measures of preparation. Okay, so I'll go 63, 2, 64, go. 65, 2, and 66, and 2. 67, 2, and 68, and 2. 69, and 2, and 70, and 2, and 71, and 2, and 72, 2. Yes, I almost messed up there. Probably overcaught myself. Okay, so we know roughly how this page can be done. I'm sure you could have done it faster if you understand your notes and counting and all that. But hopefully with my going over this with you in a tutorial, it will make more sense.